How's it going out there, everybody? Your boy DJ Cass, and of course, back to bring you my WWE Main Event review from August 25th, 2021. And this is your post SummerSlam edition of Main Event, so this is a much shorter show. Personally, I actually do like the fact that this show is like 45 minutes because when they do the post pay-per-view main events, they're not able to recap the stuff from SmackDown because it would be null and void. So all you got was pretty much a Raw recap, which, if the show was like that every week, where you didn't have to recap a lot of the SmackDown stuff that already happened, you just recap what happened on Raw, this would actually be a much better television show. But I am actually wondering, like, what the future is for this show as far as the Hulu, because I'm pretty sure you guys may or may not know, but, like, apparently Hulu and WWE are going to be axing their relationship, so I don't know how the main event show platform is going to be taken, because they're not going to be carrying this. I think from the start of maybe 2022 is when this like deal is done, and they're not going to be putting anything on Hulu anymore. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. But as far as this main event show, I'm just going to be blunt here. This show was freaking awesome. As far as the two matches that we got. Yes, I'm actually saying this, people. Like, main event this week was actually a freaking good show. Because as somebody who, again, does not watch Raw, I got to catch up on the major points that I wanted to see, and I heard, and I got to see them. And I got two really solid matches for the time that they were given. So, let's not go in and waste any time. But before we do that, again, leave a comment down in the comment section. Give me a like or a dislike. Let me know if I'm too loud, am I too soft. Let me know if you don't like me. Like, come on, people. Let's see if we can get this channel going. But yes, we kicked off WWE Main Event again. August 25th, 2021, from the arena in San Diego. Kevin Patrick and Byron Saxton, of course, on commentary. The first match was, I don't know if some of you have been realizing, but this is actually a match that I was like hoping in my mind to actually see on this show. Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin. You talk about two OGs. Like, I grew up as a wrestling fan around these two, so seeing this match for me was like my childhood was reborn. And people, let me tell you something. This crowd made this show. They were hot for everything. As soon as Jeff Hardy's No More Words music hit, I wrote down here in my notes, No More Words hits, crowd goes nuts. Like, these people wanted to see some wrestling, especially since we all know this is taped for Raw. But yeah, Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin, crowd goes nuts. I wrote down an old timers match, not in like a disrespectful match, but it's like, it's an OG match. It's a Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton type match. These are some OGs. Respect between both gentlemen with a handshake. And again, the crowd was like really into this. And the thing is, I've seen Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin. This is probably the most simple match I've ever seen these guys do, because again, it's like these two men have vowed over the IC title. I think Kevin Patrick said something to the effect of like over like 20-something major championships between the two, which, when you see that, and the fact that they're still wrestling to this day, and that they're on Main Event, a show that not a lot of people watch, is a little disheartening. They should be treated better. But again, these guys are pros. They're not going to mess anything up. Everything looks smooth. There was some nice Germans from Shelton Benjamin in this match. There was actually even a point where they were about to, like, Shelton was going to bounce Jeff Hardy, like, off the rope, but then Hardy reversed it. Then Shelton reversed it, kind of reversed it into, I believe it was a nice little jawbreaker. There was a nice running knee strike from Benjamin to Hardy in the corner. Let's Go Hardy chants was loud. Like I said, people were into this. And there was definitely a nice side Russian leg sweep when Jeff Hardy was making his comeback. I still don't know what he's doing when it comes to after the side Russian leg sweep. He has to do that. I'm just going to fall on you splash. There were actually I think maybe 3 or 4 decent near falls in this match, so that was nice to see. There was just a very beautiful running power slam from Shelton Benjamin to Jeff Hardy in this match after Jeff Hardy went for that stupid named move, the Hardiac Arrest. And there was a nice reversal from Shelton Benjamin to Hardy out of the Twist of Fate, which this was actually really cool to see. Jeff's going for the Twist of Fate. He stops it and then does a German suplex to Jeff Hardy. And then after a little back and forth when Jeff made his comeback, Jeff finally got the twist of fate on Shelton Benjamin. The crowd goes ape. I'm not going to say it, but they just went nuts. When Hardy, like I said, as soon as he hit that twist of fate, shirt comes off, swanton bomb, Jeff Hardy wins 1, 2, 3. The crowd, again, really helped this match, and they even gave them a nice little standing ovation to both guys afterwards. Like, if Main Event had crowds like this every single week, and we had some OG matches like this every single week, this show would be 1,000 times better. But this, to me, is one of those cases where it's a one-week aberration. You're going to get some different people, but then we're going to be right back to the same cronies next week. So, but yeah, as far as Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin, people, good stuff. Didn't get a lot of time, but good stuff. Okay, they recapped the Goldberg-Lashley match at SummerSlam, which personally I thought was not good. Then they went on to recap Priest and Drew McIntyre taking on Lashley and Sheamus, which looked like was a very fun tag team match. So I'll go back and watch it in full later. They also went ahead and they recapped the Raw Women's Triple Threat match, which was, I thought at SummerSlam was good for what it was. I feel bad that Nikki ASH lost the title already, but we all know when it comes to Charlotte. They then went on to recap the Bianca and Becky stuff from SummerSlam, and they showed some still photos from SummerSlam in the stadium, which, again, I thought SummerSlam overall, people, was a fine show. Did it go on too long? Yes. Was there a lot of pointless stuff in there? Yes. But this is one of those cases where a big stadium makes a difference in how aesthetics still matter in wrestling. So, yeah, there's some stuff from SummerSlam. Again, people, this is much of a recap show. But now we get to something that I really liked because of my love for tag wrestling. Lucha House Party versus the Viking Raiders. 2 new fresh teams on this show. I was already like, okay, I'm into this. And there was a nice shoulder tackle from Eric to Lindsay Dorado, which the first half of this match was very much your typical WWE style tag match, like where the small team is going to get overpowered by the big team, as they should. And again, these are 2 babyface teams, so I was going to be interested to see how the dynamic of this was going to go. These guys actually had some pretty decent chemistry. There was some nice, fresh tag moves from the Viking Raiders in this match. Again, I think this is the first time we've seen them since the Raw tag team title match that they had with AJ and Omos. So it's good to see these guys back. There was a nice looking crossbody from Lindsay to Eric to try to go for the kill, but as we went to the break, this was actually cool. So both the Viking Raiders get dumped up the outside by Lindsay. Lindsay tries to go for a crossbody off both men, but then they just catch him. Grand Metalik looks like he's about to go on, and they just shot poor Lindsay Dorado right in the face of Grand Metalik. And then they do the poor thing of, like, Eric lifts up Ivar and slams him right down on his opponent. That looked like it sucked. We get back from the break. The Viking Raiders are still in control. And then there was actually a very, very awesome looking springboard stunner from Lindsay Dorado to Eric. And Lindsay finally made the hot tag to Grand Metalik. Grand Metalik, of course, he is good. He is just not allowed to be. Metalik's running wild. Crossbody from the top. Hurricane Rana's where with Undertaker's like old school, he's holding his arm, which personally I've always found a little preposterous, but they somehow made it work here for me. Great double team moves from Lucha House Party to finally, like, get the upper hand. The small team finally getting the upper hand on the big team. Lindsay and Grand Metalik hit 3 moonsaults for a very nice near fall from Eric, and he kicked out. And then as it looked like Eric was about to be in stride, he somehow gave Lindsay Dorado a knee lift, made the hot tag to, well, not a hot tag, but he made the tag to Ivar, and Ivar just squashed poor Lindsay at the corner with his rear end. And Grand Metalik tried to catch him. Ivar did his classic cartwheel clothesline, which I wish... Again, when they were in Ring of Honor, he was rarely doing this a lot, but now it's now his thing. Now he has to do it in every match. And then finally, there was a, like I said, a nice little cartwheel clothesline from Ivar to Grand Metalik. The Viking Raiders get the Viking experience for the 1, 2, 3. This, people, was actually a very solid match for the time that they were given. Again, a typical WWE tag match at like the first half, but then it's like the classic second half. It actually picked up, and again, the crowd was into this. Like, I don't care if this show has a little bit of crowd sweetening. Like, this crowd was not sweetened. Like, they were into the Jeff Hardy Shelton Benjamin match. They were into the Viking Raiders versus Lucha House Party match. Like, they were into these two matches. And then just to finally wrap this up, people, they recapped the Universal Championship match between Cena and Reigns, which personally, I didn't think it was that good of a match. I thought it was fine. I just did not buy Cena winning. And Brock Lesnar coming back. And then the last recap was the RK Bro celebration from Raw. This is where Randy Orton needs to be right now. Because it's like, what else can you really do with them? I mean, you can put him back in the world title picture, but it's like, put him in a tag team. I mean, this is working. And then, of course, they recap the AJ Styles Riddle match, which, of course, you cannot have a bad Riddle versus AJ match. I'll go back and see it in full later. And that is how the show closed with, of course, Riddle getting the pin on AJ, and that's how we ended. Overall, people, this is probably the best episode of Main Event I've reviewed in weeks. Other than probably the, where the main event, where the NXT guys came. But no, this was a good show for the most part. Again, if you just want, on a Sunday morning, watch a 45 to 47 minute WWE Superstars, where you get recaps, but you get like 2 really good matches, give me this. Like, again, I say this every week, just change it up. If they actually just cycle guys in and out, this show would actually be 10 times better within the recaps, because not everybody can watch all of this. So if you, again, just have 2 solid matches and a bunch of recaps, anybody could get there. You can get your wrestling and you be caught up on everything. It ain't that hard. So there you go. Alright, people, that is it from my end. Thank you for listening. I am DJ Cass, and I will see you around. Later days.